Hey, brother! Okay, so undeniably, one of the most epic moments in the entirety of the MCU is the moment that Cap pulls the hammer. It's a moment that's been building for 22 movies, and it's just pure awesome. Like, Cap holding the hammer, Thor's like jubilation at the excitement of the worthiness of his friend.
I knew it.
Like, I don't know what your personal experience was, but the theater that I was in, every single person like literally cheered out loud, and even just watching it back now, like tears. Today's video though is not about just how awesome that one scene was. Today, we want to try to tackle a bigger question. Was Cap always worthy? Okay, so this question has divided the internet for some time now, and it all goes back to this one moment in Age of Ultron where everyone is trying to lift Mjolnir, and Cap finally goes up and tries and budges it. Is this because he is almost able to lift it, or does he fake not being able to lift it? One side of the argument is that inside of this moment, Cap is already 100% worthy, and the only reason why he doesn't pick it up is out of respect for Thor's ego. And personally, this is the argument that I've subscribed to since the very first moment I saw it happen on screen. I just love the idea that Steve is like so worthy and so pure that he won't lift the hammer, which does sort of nullify its usefulness. Until it doesn't. Whoosh! In fact, since Endgame has come out, the Russo Brothers have come out on this topic and stated that yes, this was the intention of that scene in Age of Ultron. Steve has always been able to lift it, he just didn't out of respect to his friends. Which, on the one hand, the Russo Brothers do know what they're talking about when it comes to Cap. Like, they directed Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and Yumi and Dupree.
Wow.
Who knew? But on the other hand, they did not write any of those movies. And they did not write or direct or have any involvement at all with Age of Ultron. So although they may have handled the character quite a bit, and they may have used this viewpoint when directing Endgame, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was the intended meaning behind the Age of Ultron scene. Honestly, it just kind of makes sense to me though, and I don't really think that anybody would have had much of an issue about it until the events of Civil War. At which point, another very good theory started cropping up around the internet. And that theory goes like this, that during the events of Age of Ultron, he was 99.9999% worthy, but there was still one thing that was kind of holding him back. He still needed to tell Tony the truth about who killed his parents. See, because back in Winter Soldier, when Steve is talking to the world's largest cassette tape, he learns that the person who killed Howard Stark is the Winter Soldier. But before he can actually go about reporting this information back to Tony, he discovers the true identity of the Winter Soldier, his surprisingly still alive best friend, Bucky. And pretty much from that moment on, Steve is on team, I need to save my best friend from this brainwashing. The real Bucky is totally in there and he should not be held responsible for the things he was programmed to do. A totally noble position to take, except for the fact that it comes along with withholding information from your superhero BFF about who actually killed his parents. And that action, or rather inaction, is the sole remaining reason why Cap is only able to budge the hammer in Age of Ultron. And that in order to become truly worthy, he needs to come clean with Tony and settle things. A moment that doesn't really happen until right here. So then again, the question becomes, is that the moment when Cap finally becomes worthy, or again, has he been worthy the entire time? And to settle this, we have just been trying to examine Mjolnir and its past users to figure out what it takes to be worthy. Because like being worthy in the MCU is used as a super powerful plot device, and like we the audience really trust it. It has so much impact. And what that means is never clearly defined at all. Like, we have an entire group of superheroes, and the only one that's worthy enough to pick up the hammer is Thor? Yeah, Thor. The guy who dyed his eyebrows. But this scene doesn't just go on to be a setup for something super awesome to happen in Endgame. It actually ends up having real meaning later on in Ultron itself when Vision is able to wield the hammer. He seems to have basically no idea what this means to the rest of everybody else, but the rest of everybody else, this is like instant confirmation, like, okay, we can trust this guy. He 100% has our best interest at heart. Does he have a heart? But yeah, the unusual thing that you have to take into consideration when you're talking about Vision is like, is he even human? Infinity War clearly wants your answer to this question to be yes. I mean, he is powered by an Infinity Stone, which is kind of sentient on its own. And they do show you his brain, and even though it's not biological, Bruce does describe its actions as thinking. And on top of all of that, he's clearly human enough for Wanda to have like truly fallen in love with him. And yet he is also definitely not a regular human being either. I mean, he even says it himself.
Humans are odd.
All of that being said, for all we know, his ability to lift a hammer is no different from like an elevator's ability to lift a hammer.
But if you put the hammer in an elevator, it would still go up. Elevator's not worthy.
They make a good point, and I think that we can all agree that Vision is nothing more than a slightly advanced elevator. Wanda gets it. Although I'm not sure she knows how elevators work. They're supposed to have like a shaft. You don't make the shaft. That being said, Vision's ability to wield the hammer seems to be enough to Thor for him to feel that he is worthy enough to protect the Mind Stone. So, Vision's not much help. So, who else, who else holds this thing? Oh yeah, that's right. Hela. No further explanation needed. Clearly she was worthy. No, that's not what I mean at all. Like, are we even sure that like it's a good thing to be able to wield this? So in case you've forgotten, when Hela arrives back in Asgard, she breaks apart the ceiling murals and showcases a time period where she was conquering the 9 realms by wielding Mjolnir. And heck, even before that, we see her like catch, or at the very least, halt the hammer and then shatter it in midair. Although at the very least there, I feel like she's not like wielding the hammer, she's just stopping it. So I don't know if that totally counts. When I first saw those paintings, I was like a little bit confused. Like, what does that say about her? Like, despite her obvious evilness, does her like conviction to her cause and absolute belief that she's doing what's right somehow like allow for this in a weird reverse kind of way? It's like how like Umbridge can cast a Patronus in like just like a really kind of way. Talk about people I would hit with a hammer. But no, the simple explanation as to why Hela was ever able to wield it is that the unliftable spell that Odin puts on it doesn't even happen until Thor 1.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Speaking of that spell though, in case you don't remember, Thor had gone off to Jotunheim where he was attacking some ice giants when he wasn't supposed to be, and upon his return, Odin basically said that you are no longer worthy and basically made it so that the hammer could not be lifted until he was again. And that is really the first moment at all that the hammer has any relationship whatsoever with worthiness. Prior to that, it was just, a weapon with unrivaled power. And although that might make it seem like now all of a sudden just anybody could wield it, that's also not true either. As Thor explains to us in Infinity War, a weapon that is that powerful comes with its own rules.
Don't you think that we should all have a weapon like that?
No. You simply lack the strength to wield them. Your bodies would crumple as your minds collapsed into madness.
Is it weird that I want to do it even more now?
A little bit.
In any case though, the spell that Odin casts is kind of weird. For one, he specifically says, if he be worthy.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
And the reward, if you are worthy, is the power of Thor. Which like, shouldn't Thor already have that, considering he is Thor? Oh, that's right. That was the entire plot of Ragnarok. Not the god of hammers, god of thunder. But so then why the he at all? Does that mean that the list of people capable of lifting the hammer is Thor, Captain America, advanced elevators, and all women? Yeah, that does sound right. Actually, let's think back. Do we ever see a woman try to lift it at all?
Oh, no, that's not a question I need answered.
Well, I'll be. Okay though, with the spell in place, Thor finds himself unable to lift the hammer for the better part of Thor 1, before he finally gets it back and is able to kick some suit of armor butt. He actually hits him in the face, but you know what I mean. Also, wasn't that guy like kind of a weird villain? I got some serious like Black Knight vibes from him.
All right, we'll call it a draw.
It was not a draw. But we decided because that is the moment that he once again becomes worthy, we went back to that scene to figure out what exactly he did to get it back.
These people are innocent. Taking their lives will gain you nothing. So take mine.
It's sacrifice, the willingness to let himself die to save everyone else. Just like Harry Potter. That's right. Add him to the list, people. That is the specific act that finally wakes the hammer and makes him worthy once again. Which, like, I'm just saying, you know who else does that? Nat, and Tony, and Clint tries to, and Bruce risks his life with the snap. Maybe, in the end, they were all worthy.
Wow.
But that's not what we're trying to figure out. At the end of the day, we want the answer to the question, was Cap always worthy? And you know what? Based on all of that, I think absolutely. I think that even going back in time, he was worthy before he was even given the super soldier serum to begin with. I mean, just look at him right here with no prompting whatsoever. But so then again, why doesn't he actually just lift the hammer in Age of Ultron? Why does it only budge? Yes, I think on some level he is just respecting Thor's ego here, but I also think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I definitely don't think that the hammer works in a like, you can operate it more the more worthy you are kind of way. It's definitely an all or nothing type of situation. You either can or you can't. And I don't want to brag or anything, but Cap isn't just protecting Thor's feelings here, though. I think that despite the fact that the hammer considers him worthy, Steve doesn't consider himself worthy. He knows about Tony's parents, and he knows that he hasn't come clean yet.
Did you know? Yes.
It's really just what makes Cap who he is, why he was selected to be the first super soldier to begin with. The one who always wanted to do what was right, the one who wanted to stand up to the bully, the one who would jump on the grenade for everyone else, the one who wouldn't just accept worthiness despite the fact that he was judged to be so. Guys, for my question of the day, what do you think? Was Cap always worthy? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the towel section down below. And guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you would like some more Avengers action from us, you can check out this video right here where we sort all the Avengers into Hogwarts houses, or if you want to see our entire spoiler Endgame review, you can check out this video right here. But Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.